Hey, Michelle, thanks for coming on the show today. As a way of getting started, tell us about yourself.
Hello, great to meet you. So yeah, Michelle Bovey. I live in Boston and I've been in sales for about 10 years now. And I absolutely love what I do. Most people say, they work just to make money for their family. I work because I truly love what I do every single day. So excited to be here. And yeah, that's about it.
Cool. And you started off in such an easy job at Parametric. I mean, that's such a,
Oh yeah, such an easy job there. Yeah,
all
so I
those friendly people.
exactly. So it was actually the best thing ever. I remember interviewing, I was coming out of college and I interviewed for software, biomedical and pharma sales jobs. I knew I wanted to do sales because I love people, love to talk to strangers. Everyone's been telling me since I was basically in middle school, you're going to do sales someday. So I kind of had my heart set on that.
Yeah.
And then I went to interview at PTC for software, only software company I interviewed for. And they told me, if you start with us, you will be in Las Vegas on Monday at our sales kickoff. And I was 21, almost 22 years old, coming out of college. And I said, I've never been to Vegas. I am so in. And I took that job, not knowing anything about software or PTC, but it was the best decision ever. Was there for 5 years, promoted 4 times in 5 years. And they taught me everything I need to know, but they were hard on us. And that was kind of my favorite thing because I'm competitive. And yeah, if you're not the best of the best there, they let you know and you will be gone. But I loved it. Cutthroat, but very good. And that's why they've had so much success over the years.
Yeah, because I worked with a lot of people who came out of there,
Mm-hmm.
and it fits, a certain sale very well. I mean, they,
Yeah,
they had it down to a science.
sure.
But what was it like selling to that persona? Because you probably didn't talk to CAD engineers in college, right?
No. So yeah, it's funny you say that. I actually remember sitting down day one saying, what is CAD? And looking up what CAD stood for, computer aided design. And I went home. So I was kind of a little nerdy in college with studying. Like I like to get A's. And I went home and I made flashcards and I looked up what CAD meant and basically what every detail in CAD meant so that when I talked to people, I could actually sound a little bit intelligent. But selling to the mechanical engineers and everybody in engineering is a tough thing to do. My dad, thankfully, and brother are in IT and engineering, so I got some help there. But I took a different approach. I actually went out and said, while I cannot learn every single day about feature and function of an engineering tool and go talk to engineers about that because they're going to always know more than I do. They've been in the career for 15, 20 years. I took the approach to go and actually learn about their companies and go learn, go read annual reports, go read about the person that I'm talking to and have more conversations and ask a ton of questions. So my big thing was I had, 15 questions always, and they would always start with TED, meaning T for tell me, E explain to me, D describe to me, very open-ended questions so that I could just get a ton of stuff. I'd write down everything. And then when I went back to them next time, it was a very much, oh, when you said before, instead of talking about, the most technical detail to do with CAD software. So I took that approach, but it
And,
seemed to
and
work.
where'd you get that? Did they teach you that, or did you figure that out on your own?
They did teach a little bit of that. They were very big on force management training, medic or medpic
Yeah, med
training.
pick. Yeah.
So they did, yeah, they taught us all of that. But at the same time, I always say in sales, you have to put yourself in their shoes. And what I mean by that is the same way as if I go shopping for a car, I don't want someone selling me a coupe, like a 2-door car, when I know I want an SUV. I love 22-inch wheels. Like I know what I want, right?
Yeah.
I don't want someone to come and just pitch to me a coupe when that's not even in my mind of what I want. It's the same thing talking to clients. You can't just pitch feature function when you don't understand anything about what they want. So ask questions. Oh, what are you looking for in a car? What do you not want in a car? It's the same thing, same approach when selling software is really walking in the door with credibility, especially when I was, 22 years old and one of the only females in that job. I knew I had to stand out. So it was all about reading about my customers, studying. It's pretty funny. I still to this day actually make even flashcards. So learning new technology at my new company as well. Data analytics is not as simple as you would think. There's actually a ton of, key terms you need to know. And yeah, every day trying to get better.
Yeah, because that's, I mean, certainly PTC was a technical product.
Sure. Super
Um,
technical.
and now, how long, you didn't stay inside very long, did you?
No, so there's about 40 of us in inside sales, and I was outside, basically an outside sales rep. They called me an overlay in under a year. So about 10 months, I was promoted. 3 of us were promoted out of the 40-ish, and yeah, I was one of them. And it was cutthroat. It was awesome. I love it. Like, bring it on. I liked the competition. I liked how they were very much performance driven. So they would stack rank people every day, and that just made me want to do more and more each day. I loved it. But yeah, I was out in the field within about 10 months, and that for me went from having a job in inside sales to really seeing where my career could go. The second I was in and outside sales, I knew this was the career for me. I was like, I get to meet people every day, new people every day, get to go to lunches, get to go to dinners. It was fantastic. I was on a plane, I think, for about 2 years straight, getting to go to cities I've never been, just living out of a suitcase. But it was, absolutely worth every second of it, and fantastic company to work for. And they're still doing great.
Yeah. And where's the competitiveness come from? Is that lacrosse and basketball and
Soccer. Yep. I still, to this day, I'm in my, I have to admit, I'm in my early 30s now, and I still play, if COVID wasn't happening, soccer 6 times a week, and basketball a few times as well too. So if I'm not working, that's honestly all I do. But I love sports. I love anything competitive. If it's a card game, if it's a drinking game, if it's anything competitive, for me, it's sometimes my friends don't love to play them with me because they know I can't take anything just normal. I have to win.
yeah.
Yeah. So
And is it the fun of winning or the hatred of losing?
I'd say a little bit of both, but it's more the hatred of losing at times. I have to say something about it. It's how I grew up. I've been
Yeah.
that way since I was a little kid. And, with grades in schools, I'd get mad if it was a B plus and not an A minus or an A. Same way with sports. So just everything that I do, I like to do it really well. And sports, though, especially. Watching sports, playing sports, it's my favorite. And I think it definitely is, a strength to have those qualities in sales. Sometimes people always ask me, well, if you don't love sports and if you can't play sports, can you still be good at sales? And the question is, of course, yes.
Yeah.
There are so many different ways you can be great at sales. I just think that for sure helps. The competitive drive, the work ethic, because essentially as hard as you work, your compensation is reflective of that.
And sports is a game, and sales is a game, and you win or you lose.
Exactly.
Right. And the other thing is you have a coach in sports.
Yep.
And you have teammates.
Exactly.
And you hear some feedback.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny because people think sales is, oh, you have a sales rep and you go out the door and sell. But it's not like you're selling knives door to door, right? Like what some people might have done in high school or kind of thing. You have a team, right? I have a team of reps and engineers and customer success and services and product managers and marketing. Like, we have a team that go out together, and it really is a team sport led by our leaders who are constantly giving you feedback to get better. I always tell people, if you feel like you're not getting better every single day, then you need to, go move and do something else, because I think this career is all about development and getting better, every single day.
And then you went to sell another hard product, right? App Dynamics.
I did. Yes. So App Dynamics. So it's actually funny. The people I worked with at PTC, a lot of them went to companies. Some of them, my old boss actually went to AppD, and he brought me there. And I remember on the plane to boot camp, I was on the plane, I got hired on like a Friday, and they were like, you're going to boot camp on Monday. And same exact thing, how I looked up what CAD was, I had to look up APM for dummies. So I actually read on the plane out to San Francisco on a Sunday night, like a 20-page document that was APM for dummies, application performance monitoring. And I was looking up everything I could ever know about it and just making flashcards, studying, so that when I went to boot camp, I wouldn't be too embarrassed. But no, that to me was game-changing company I've worked for. Just spectacular. It was even PTC on steroids. Everyone there was sharp, still there. Super smart, intelligent people, great character, and just the best of the best. And if they hold people to very high standards, and if you don't have those, you won't get in and you won't last. But I love that, right?
Yeah.
I always say you want to be the New England Patriots of the NFL. Bill Belichick holds his team to very high standards, and that was App Dynamics. And actually, my leader in New England was very much like that, and we all respected him because he expected the best from us every single day.
And how was that transition going from selling to mechanical engineers to probably architects, infrastructure people?
Exactly. So you have to learn about what they care about every single day, right? But what I always say in sales is what's transferable is that every single company you go to, whether I'm selling at PTC or AppD or now ThoughtSpot, one thing stays the same, and that is learning about the people you sell to, bringing them value, and not just learning about the feature and function ins and outs of your tool. You have an engineer at your side to help you do that, but really what's going to make people actually want to meet with you is showing them that you know everything about their business and you found a problem that they need to solve. Hopefully your technology can solve that problem. But if you have to start by reading annual reports, learning about the people you sell to, what they care about, right? Like whether it's a mechanical engineer or an architect, you have to understand what their pain problems are every single day and not what feature to just go pitch to them.
Yeah. And what kept you focused on that? Because most
Oh,
companies don't do that. They teach you about the product.
I'll tell you why. Certain people have strengths and weaknesses. My strength is understanding a business and people. My weakness, I'm in software sales, is kind of understanding the ins and outs of technology.
It was
For
just
some,
easier.
it is crazy, but other people are fantastic at understanding 20 levels deep about a database. I go 2 levels deep about a database. I don't need to be talking widgets. That's not solving a massive problem for the company. What I've realized is how do you do big deals and massive deals with these companies? You solve big problems for them. You don't check a box on a function of a database. You solve a problem because they want to improve their NPS score with their clients. They want to have whatever it is, but whatever the ROI is back to their business that they're trying to improve, you focus on that. And if you focus on that, that's also way more relatable to other companies. So you start telling that story. If you're working with a CVS or the Hartford or whoever it is, you tell that story about how you helped a retailer or insurance company and go to the next retailer insurance company telling that story. And then you start to do more and more deals instead of telling, the next retail company, oh, I solved this little database technology thing. You're not going to scale and you're not going to be super successful over and over again if you talk about the feature function. So really just focus in on the big business problems that, these people care about.
And did you get leads there, or was it a lot of outbound? You didn't
Never.
get leads?
Never. I've never worked at a company where people just hand you deals. We do have BDRs that are fantastic that will help us cold call essentially, and marketing who will throw events and do stuff like that where hopefully we'll get somebody viewing a white paper maybe.
Yeah.
But it's never that they're contacting us asking for a demo. I've seen in my career that probably 5 times. It's more of, we're in a different time. Like a BDR picking up the phone and cold calling people thought was dead. It's not. You still have to do that, especially with the competition nowadays. Most companies are startups. I like to go out there and work at companies where they haven't heard of us, right? I like the thrill of me going to somebody and saying, hey, have you heard of us? And they say no. I love that because, my whole thing is I don't want to just manage accounts where they just keep coming back and purchasing from us year after year. Like it sounds great, but to me, there's no thrill in that. I want to go out and solve problems for companies. And that's how you make your name in the industry is, when I go to I just came to ThoughtSpot now, and I can go to the people I've sold to in the past where they say, Michelle has solved massive problems for us with App Dynamics. Of course, I'll take her call versus I sold them a widget that does one thing, and that's fine. People like to do that. I like to solve problems for these companies so that they can keep calling me over and over again, and having a great relationship for the next 20 years, hopefully, with them.
And what brought you to ThoughtSpot?
Sure. So just like people from PTC went to AppD together, the same exact thing from App Dynamics. When people started to leave and want to go do it again, and there's still people at AppD today, and they're still killing it, and still the best company I've ever worked at. They were fantastic. A lot of people did leave and want to go do that new startup mentality again. So there was about 3 companies that everybody went to that did leave, ThoughtSpot being one of them. And I go to companies, yes, because of the technology. I always look into the tech. I read reviews. I talk to past clients of mine that are very technical to understand it. But I really follow people. You got to work with people that you love, people that you trust, people that every day you wake up and want to do better for those people. And our CRO, basically our whole leadership team here is why I came here, for sure. I trust them. They really care about the people that work for them more than anything. It sounds weird because we're in sales. You think they just care about, money and bringing a company to IPO, which is very important, but they care about the people that they're developing. They want to change their lives. And I felt that from our leadership team. And to me, it was an absolute no-brainer to come follow them here. So I came to ThoughtSpot for the people. Since then, the technology, what I've realized has been, it's almost back when people only knew of horses and now the car is being invented. It's the same thing with ThoughtSpot in analytics. It's almost like people had no idea that what we do is out there. And once they see it and hear of it, they're blown away essentially. But it's almost the future of analytics, and it's finally here.
And again, you're selling to a completely different persona, right?
Yeah, I like that. Bring on the challenge each time. Like I said, it doesn't matter who it is that we sell to, but you have to be consistent. The same thing day one we got here, we learned about our clients. That's the first thing we did. We said before we pick up a phone, before we email anybody or do anything, like I have a Rolodex of people. I didn't pick up the phone and call them. I still have not called all of them yet. Don't tell my CRO that, but
We'll keep it between us.
Yeah, we'll keep it between us, sure. The whole thing is though, go do your research, go read about them, go read their annual reports. Like I said, talk to people at the company, understand what they're going through as a digital transformation in data, go learn everything you know before you go actually pitch them your product. You gotta be patient essentially.
And who cares about this in your customer space? Is it CFO? Is it operations? Is it?
Sure. So it's pretty funny. I'd say it's everyone, but really, and I'll kind of explain why, but we are essentially analytics for the business users. So there's analytics for the technical users. There's a lot of technologies out there that are for the analysts who make dashboards every single day. We more focus on who are the business users that do not know how to query and are not super technical, right? It's almost like me, right? How do I consume all this data? That's who we sell to. The CIO and the chief data officer typically care about it. And then, a head of architect who wants to connect to their cloud data warehouse and instantly search their data and consume their data, right? Is as simple as search in Google. Those are the typical people that actually care. But really anybody. We sell to HR, to procurement, to marketing, to the business, to IT. It's really any group with a use case where they have a ton of data and they want to get to the most granular level of that data. And they want to do it really fast, and they don't want to wait 5 days for a dashboard. They want it instantly, as fast as you would search on Google or Yelp or, order an Uber, just as fast as you get that data back in your personal lives. We give it to you that fast in your business life as well.
But who do you start with within a targeted prospect?
Sure. I would typically try to go right to a CIO or CDO. Yeah. That's day one. Ultimately, you're probably going to be bounced down to somebody on their team. Maybe you go for somebody in data analytics that's a little bit, maybe a director level or something like that. Or in insurance, like if you look at certain verticals too, like someone in charge of claims, we help specifically with a claims use case. So it's honestly, you can sell to the business, you can sell to IT. It's almost the beauty of working here. You could spend your whole year in 5 accounts at this company because you
Yeah.
can sell to everybody. You don't just have to sell to IT. You can honestly sell to anyone in the company at any level, as long as they have data they need to consume and they want to ask questions to it and they want to get instant answers, almost like ad hoc analytics, you can sell to them. So it's really anyone, but ultimately CIO and chief data officer.
And you've been only there 7 months? Have you gotten your feet underneath you? Do you feel at home yet?
Yes, for sure. I'd say we've changed so much in the past 6 to 7 months. It's crazy.
Great timing.
Yeah, we've come out like, we now can search cloud data warehouses. We now have a ThoughtSpot cloud offering. We basically, just in the last few months, have even changed our pricing options. We have all different pricing that we can now offer people. And we've also landed a lot more big customers. So it's just every day things change, and I love it. It's part of the fun and part of the thrill is, when I even was at other companies in PTC, like if something came out in the product, it might be 6 months, right? This is in 6 days, something has changed. In 2 days, something new is out. So it's just fast paced and always changing, and they're keeping up with what our customers are saying and requesting, and we're adapting to it. So it's been, I feel at home, and I've got a great team. Just took over Canada a month ago as well. So I'm learning to speak a little French too. So trying to do
Are
it
you
all.
still an individual contributor, or are you a
No,
leader?
so I'm a leader. So I lead. I was an individual contributor at PTC. I was inside sales to outside sales. Did that for years, went to AppDynamics, outside sales, became an RD, regional director of New England there, did that, and then came to ThoughtSpot and have New England, upstate New York, and all of Canada. So I'm leading an outside sales team of reps who cover accounts, basically large enterprise accounts.
And what do you look for in reps?
Oh, this is fun. My intelligence is number one for me, but when I say intelligence, I don't mean just book smart. I mean emotional intelligence, being able to have a conversation with a human, common sense, street smarts, because people buy from people they like, and if you can't have a conversation with them, it's usually not going to go very far. You have to stand out from the other 100 sales reps that are contacting the CIO, right? You can't sound robotic. You can't be, boring. I want somebody who's going to come in and make me remember them, right? So, and on top of that, intelligence, though, you have to be smart. I also like somebody who is coachable, right? Like we're in a field where every day we should get better, just like myself. I welcome feedback bi-directionally from anybody all the time. We have to get better every day. So you need somebody who's coachable and willing to get better every day. And then character, just making sure they're a great person and all of that. So those are the 3 things that I typically look for. And AppDynamics kind of made sure that whenever we hired somebody, that was, those were the requirements. But really for me, it's like, can this person handle a conversation with anybody, whether they're talking to an engineer, a CIO, an end user, anybody, right? Of any background, just being able to, adapt to conversations with people. You're human. Can you be human with the people you're selling to?
And how was your transition into leadership? Because it's a different job.
So different. Yes. It was tough because I'm, just being transparent. I think the youngest leader and the only female at the time. So since then, there's actually been a lot of females promoted when it was at AppDynamics, which was really great to see. But it was tough at first, right? Like day one, when you come in and you're a new leader and instantly everyone knows, oh, wow, she's young and she's a female. It's kind of like intimidating, right? But you have to find how you can help each person. The biggest thing about being a leader is you don't just coach everybody the same. You have to find out their strengths and weaknesses, what motivates each individual. You might help one person with just one small tiny thing, but the other person with a broad set of capabilities. So you just really have to, just like you learn about your clients before you sell to them, You'll learn about your people before you coach them. Learn what they're good at. Ask them what they're good at. Ask them where they think they need help. Observe for the first 30, 60, however many days it is before you start coaching them. So it's all about individual learning before you actually start coaching. But it's been fantastic, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy being a leader, and you get to talk to more clients every day. So that's the other, for me, the more people I talk to, the happier I am. So I like leading a bigger team. It's great.
And what was the adjustment like? Because you go from that winning, the hunting, and because that's a very different feeling than doing it with people.
Sure. Yes. I mean, it's just to say, I have not stopped hunting. I have actually people on my list tonight that I'm going to help my team get to. If anything, it feels even better, right? Like I'm helping change reps' lives on my team. If they're not having success getting to an EB, like an economic buyer, and they need help doing that, challenge me. To me, it's like, I'll go do it at night. I'll go try to get in the door for you. And then once we do, it's together, we're going to go win this deal. So we still do it, but yeah, it's a lot different. You're not talking to clients 100% of the time, but you are talking to people 100% of the time. It's just internal people and external people. So as long as you care about people in general, helping clients, helping, internal employees as well, you're going to love being a leader.
Yeah. And how during the interview process do you determine, other than talking to them, that EQ, because I think it's more than EQ, the empathy, but the ability to, like you described, the TED thing and understanding what they're going through. Outward mindset is kind of what I call it.
Sure.
A lot of people don't have it. They can fake it during the interview, right?
Correct. I think I interview more people than anyone, I feel like. Maybe that's because I know in Boston, software sales is just what most people, I feel like everyone does software sales here. There's a lot of software companies, but I interview a ton of people. Like some people will just go talk to two because they've narrowed it down on resumes and they've talked to other people about them and they have two people they're going to go interview. I mean, I've interviewed 15 people for one role, and sometimes that might sound crazy, but I also have, I have an Excel sheet where the people I've interviewed, I've thought of, if they don't work here at App D, maybe they'll work at ThoughtSpot, maybe they'll work, in this role, like I interview people, even if they're not for the job today, maybe they are for the future. But to get to that question and that EQ, there's certain questions I usually start with, tell me about yourself, kind of like how you did for me. Simple questions like that. I kind of want to see if people smile, if they're happy, if they're talking to me like a person. On top of that, I usually ask someone to explain a complex thing in simple terms. It's a good question that usually you can understand if they're intelligent or not. But to get to really their EQ, I will ask them questions about sales they've done. Tell me about a champion that you built and why they're a champion to you. Tell me about another one you did. And I really like to understand the people aspect of selling, because like we said many times in this, in this conversation, feature and function will only get you so far, but having champions to get deals done is super important. And I ask a ton of questions around champions and what problems they solved for them, just to see if these really are, people that have helped them bring the deal over the line.
As opposed to just servicing them,
Servicing them. Oh, you need
a demo, you need a POC, you need a quote. Yeah.
Exactly. I want to know these people they've sold to and how well they know them. Like, tell me about this person, right? Like, what are they like? What do they do for fun, right? And understanding if this person actually gets to know them or if they're just taking orders and, servicing the business, like you said, versus actually solving a problem, getting to know these people. And a lot of my clients are my friends to this day. I'm talking to one tonight when I go for a walk, giving him a call just to catch up. And I'm not selling him ThoughtSpot at all. I mean, maybe I'll throw it in there a little bit, but it's more of just to catch up. And he's a very good friend of mine and we keep in touch after. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who has the ability to connect with people on a level unlike the average salesperson.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, this has been a fun conversation. Where can people go to follow and connect with you?
Sure. So I say LinkedIn. That's the best way to get a hold of me. Michelle Bove, Bove. And you'll see me at ThoughtSpot if you look it up. But yeah, that's the best way to get in touch with me. I don't, I have Facebook and all that. Just don't,
Don't
don't
go
do
there.
that. My friends make fun of me because I'll go out to dinner and I'm on LinkedIn sending messages at all times. I'm like, it's the best thing ever. I
Is
love
it?
it. So yeah, that's really it.